In the small village of Clearwater, there lived a hunter named Jack. Jack was a tall, strong man with broad shoulders and long legs. He carried an old rifle on his shoulder and a hunting bag on his back. One night, Jack was returning home after hunting in the forest. He had been out for many hours, but only caught one small deer. He was tired, hungry, and very thirsty. As Jack walked home through the dark forest, his throat felt dry. He remembered Crystal River, which flowed near the village. The people in Clearwater always told strange stories about this river, especially at night. Many villagers avoided going there after sunset. Some believed mermaids lived in the river. Others said water spirits came out to sing and dance under the moonlight. Jack did not believe in these stories. He was a practical man who only believed in things he could see and touch. Those are just fairy tales for children, he told himself. Water is just water, nothing more. When Jack reached the river, he bent down to drink. But suddenly, he froze. Under the dim moonlight, he saw something incredible. A woman sat on a smooth rock by the water. Her long, shining hair fell like a curtain over her shoulders. She was holding a baby in her arms and rocking it gently. At first, Jack thought she might be a village woman bathing her child. But then he noticed something shocking. The lower half of her body wasn't legs. It was a beautiful tail covered in silver and green scales that dipped into the water. Jack's heart raced. A mermaid! He quickly hid behind a bush so she wouldn't see him. But instead of fear, Jack felt excitement. He remembered stories from old men in the village who said, "If you catch a mermaid or her child, you will become rich forever." Jack's mind raced with plans. If I catch that baby, I can sell it to someone rich. This could be my chance to escape poverty forever, he thought. The mermaid seemed peaceful, singing softly to her baby in a language Jack didn't understand. She didn't notice anyone was watching. Jack carefully circled around behind her, trying not to make any noise. When he was close enough, he raised his rifle. He didn't want to kill her completely, just hurt her enough so she couldn't fight him. Bang! The loud gunshot echoed across the river. Birds flew up from the trees in fright. The mermaid screamed, a high, piercing sound that cut through the air. She clutched her side and dropped the baby into her lap. Jack rushed forward and snatched the baby from her arms. The mermaid's glowing eyes widened in shock. She tried to reach for her child, but she was too weak. With a trembling voice, she looked at Jack and said, "You will suffer for this." Her words sent a shiver down Jack's spine, but he shook it off. Just empty threats, he thought. The mermaid's tail splashed in the water once, twice, then she dove deep into the river and disappeared. Jack stood there breathing hard. The baby was tiny, with small silver scales along its back and bright, calm eyes. "You're mine now," Jack whispered. He wrapped the baby in a cloth and held it close to his chest. Jack ran through the forest, taking hidden paths so no one would see him. The baby made soft sounds, half like a human cry, half like bubbling water. In his mind, Jack was already dreaming about the money he would make. By morning, Jack reached his hut and locked the door. He placed the baby on a mat and studied it carefully. "You're worth more than gold," he whispered. The next morning, 3 women from the village walked to Crystal River to fetch water. They carried clay pots on their heads and talked happily. But when they reached the riverbank, they stopped and gasped. The river was completely dry. The riverbed was cracked like old clay. Dead fish lay everywhere, gasping for air. The women dropped their pots and ran back to the village screaming, "The river is gone! The river has disappeared!" Neighbors rushed out of their homes in confusion. "What do you mean gone?" they asked. Soon, a crowd gathered at the dry riverbed, shocked and frightened. An old man shook his head sadly. "Something has angered the spirits," he said. "We must call Father Thomas, the village priest. Only he will know what to do." Father Thomas was a wise old man with a long gray beard. People turned to him whenever there was trouble. When he arrived at the river, he studied the dry ground carefully. He closed his eyes and whispered in a strange language. The wind seemed to change, and everyone grew quiet. Finally, Father Thomas opened his eyes and spoke. "The river has spoken to me. Last night, someone attacked a water spirit. A baby mermaid was stolen by force." The crowd gasped. "A mermaid child," people whispered. Father Thomas lifted his staff. "The river says this will bring great suffering to our village if the child is not returned. Our fields will dry up, our wells will fail, sickness will come, and no rain will fall." A brave man asked, "Father Thomas, who took the child?" The priest shook his head slowly. "The river did not tell me, but I have a warning. Whoever you are, return what you have taken. If you don't, you and the entire village will suffer greatly. I give the thief one chance. Return the child to the river before sunset today, or you will regret it for the rest of your life." He struck his staff on the ground 3 times. Tap, tap, tap. The sound echoed strangely across the dry riverbed. Jack was in his hut when he heard the villagers talking about Father Thomas's warning. His heart pounded with fear. "No one knows it's me. No one saw me," he whispered. But the warning kept repeating in his mind. Later that day, Jack's 2 sons, Tommy and little Ben, came to his hut. Their faces looked pale and frightened. "Dad, we're scared," Tommy said. "Father Thomas said something bad will happen if the person who took the mermaid doesn't return it." Jack tried to smile. "Don't worry, nothing will happen." But little Ben pointed behind the door. "Dad, what's that?" Before Jack could stop them, Tommy pulled away a cloth and discovered the baby mermaid. It's a mermaid," Tommy cried out. Jack quickly covered their mouths. "Shh, don't scream. Listen, I took the mermaid to make money for our family. We can buy anything you want, new clothes, toys, plenty of food. But you must never tell anyone. Do you understand?" The boys nodded, but their eyes were full of fear. Suddenly, little Ben broke free and ran toward his mother's hut. "Mom, Mom," he shouted. Jack caught him just in time, but his wife, Sarah, appeared in the doorway. "Jack, what's going on?" Jack forced a smile. "Nothing, the boy was just playing." He squeezed Ben's shoulder tightly, and the boy stayed quiet. But Tommy couldn't keep the secret. As soon as he reached his mother's hut, he told her everything. "Mom, Dad has a mermaid baby in his hut." Sarah's eyes widened in shock. She ran to Jack's hut and found the baby mermaid. "Jack, what have you done?" she cried. Jack covered her mouth. "Quiet, do you want the whole village to hear?" Sarah pushed his hand away. "Why do you have this creature in our house? What are you planning?" "I'm going to sell it," Jack said firmly. "Do you know how much money we'll make? We'll never be poor again." Sarah stepped back, shaking her head. "I will not be part of this evil. Don't you understand what will happen? The river will take revenge. The whole village will suffer." Jack waved his hand dismissively. "Father Thomas is just trying to scare people. Nothing will happen." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Jack, listen to me. If you don't return that child to the river today, I'm taking our children and leaving." Jack shrugged. "Then go. I won't stop you." Sarah stared at him, her mouth trembling. She turned and walked out angrily. That night, a young boy in the village couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about what Ben had told him, that Jack had caught a mermaid. Finally, he whispered to his mother, and she immediately woke his father. The father waited until dawn, then rushed to Father Thomas's house. "Father Thomas, it's Jack. He's the one who caught the mermaid." Father Thomas's eyes widened. He quickly gathered several trusted men, and they all went to Jack's house. They knocked hard on the door. "Jack, open up." There was no answer. They knocked again, louder. Finally, Sarah came out, looking frightened. "He's not here," she said, with tears in her eyes. She checked inside. "He's gone, and the mermaid is gone too." The men looked at each other in shock. Father Thomas spoke firmly. "Let's go to the river. We'll apologize to the river spirit and ask for mercy. We know who took the baby now. The punishment should be for Jack alone, not the whole village." When they reached the riverbank, they were amazed. The river was flowing again. Clear, sparkling water moved gently, as if nothing had happened. Then they saw Jack walking slowly toward them. His head was bent low, and his face was full of sadness. "My friends, please forgive me," Jack said, his voice shaking. "I was the one who took the mermaid baby." The men watched him quietly. Jack continued, "When I caught it, all I could think about was money. I wanted to sell it and become rich. But last night, my wife talked to me. She said happiness shouldn't come from hurting others. She said the mermaid wasn't ours to take. I thought about it, and I knew she was right." Jack took a deep breath. "I went back to the river last night and let the mermaid go. I told her I was sorry and begged for mercy. Please forgive me." For a moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, the men began to clap. "You've done the right thing, Jack," Father Thomas said, smiling. Sarah, who had followed them quietly, ran forward and hugged Jack tightly. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. From that day forward, something magical happened. Whenever Jack went hunting in the forest, he always returned with the biggest and fattest animals: deer, wild pigs, and even rare birds. His traps never failed. He sold some of the animals at the market and kept some for his family. Very soon, Jack's name spread beyond Clearwater. People came from other villages to buy meat from him. He became one of the richest men in the village, but he never forgot the lesson he had learned. Whenever Jack passed by Crystal River, he would stop for a moment, look at the flowing water, and smile quietly. He knew that sometimes the greatest riches come from doing the right thing.